In this video, I'll show you how to convert a general form circle equation to one that's in standard form. The question reads, write the equation 2x squared plus 2y squared minus 18x plus 16y plus 60 is equal to 0 in standard form. Find the radius, center, and plot the curve. What we have to do is reorganize our equation so that it looks like this. 2x squared minus 18x. Notice how I'm grouping similar terms, plus 2y squared plus 16y plus 60. And what we have to do to be successful to go from this format to this format is we actually have to complete the square twice. And I do have a video dedicated to this topic, completing the square. With that said, we need to complete the square for these two terms and complete the square for these two terms. But before we even do that, you'll notice that all 5 of these terms have a 2 in common. So let's pull out a 2, or factor out a 2 from all of these terms. And if I do that, I should end up with x squared minus 9x plus y squared plus 8y plus 30. And the reason why I'm factoring this out is because it actually makes it a lot easier to complete the square without a leading coefficient. Now that I have a 2 factored out, I can divide both sides by 2. And if I divide this side by 2, the 2 cancels out. And if I divide 0 by 2, I end up with 0. So my equation has become a lot simpler. Now if you did not catch that like I did, it's fine. You can still continue completing this square, except it will make it a lot harder because of the bigger numbers. As mentioned earlier, I'll complete the square for this first. We have x squared minus 9x. To complete the square, you need to locate your b coefficient. Your a coefficient is 1 and your b coefficient is negative 9. You take your negative 9 number, divide it by 2, you end up with negative 4.5. You take negative 4.5 and then you square it. So let's go ahead and find out what negative 4.5 to the power of 2 is equal to. We end up with 81 over 4. 81 over 4. What I'll do with this number 81 over 4 is add it and subtract it to my equation, where I end up with x squared minus 9x plus 81 over 4 minus 81 over 4. And I'll put brackets around the first 3 terms. And now these first 3 terms can actually be factored. In fact, this is a perfect square trinomial. This means that I can reduce this down into x, and you remember this number? Negative 4.5. X minus 4.5 squared minus 81 over 4. I can now replace these 2 terms with this vertex form expression. Let's go ahead and do that. I have to do this exact same process with these 2 terms. Y squared plus 8y, taking this number 8, dividing it by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And then squaring this gives us 16. Where we have y squared plus 8y plus 16 minus 16. Putting brackets around the first 3 terms, this is a perfect square trinomial. This means that we can reduce this down to y, and remember this number, y plus 4 squared minus 16. I'm going to take this expression and place it right here. Plus 30 is equal to 0. Take a look at the equation that we are building. It's starting to look a lot like the standard equation of a circle when the origin is not at the center. What we have to do next is combine this term with this term and this term, bring it over to the other side. So we'll take negative 81 over 4 minus 16 plus 30, and that gives us negative 6.25. Now that I've cleaned up the room, x minus 4.5 squared plus y plus 4 squared minus 6.25, bringing that over, gives us the expression. And now we can use positive 6.25 to find our radius. In fact, if I just square root this number, the square root of 6.25 gives me 5 over 2. That is my radius. This is my h, this is my k. In fact, whenever you find your h and your k, you have to switch the sign. So our h is actually positive 4.5, and our k is negative 4. Let's see if we've answered the question. They ask us for the radius, which we found. They ask us for the center, and now we have to plot the curve. So our center is at 4.5 and negative 4. 4.5 is right around here, and negative 4 is down here. And the radius is 5 over 2, which equals to 2.5. And to show that, I can draw a circle as best as I can and say that the radius is 2.5. And so there you have it. That is how to convert a general form circle equation to standard form.